When people notice my cane and dark glasses, they often ask me about blindness. And I realize now that many people don't really know what being blind means. I can't blame them because I didn't know either until I became legally blind. I used to think that being blind meant that you couldn't see anything. But now I know that being blind can mean that you just see less than, okay, a lot less than ordinary people. And maybe that makes me extraordinary? No, I doubt that you'd use that term to describe me if you saw me walking into walls and falling over chairs and tripping over curbs. It's only been a couple of years since I lost my eyesight, but I'll never forget my first visit to the Lions Center for the Blind, a wonderful organization offering services, solutions, and support for people who are visually challenged. There I was at 5 p.m. as the center was closing. Ahead of me out walked a man wearing dark glasses and carrying a long white cane. Now, I had not yet been trained in how to use that cane, and I felt that if I followed him from a distance, I could observe and pick up some tips on how to use it. And he seemed to be an expert. In fact, he was booking down the sidewalk. I could barely keep up with him. I watched him as he swept his cane from side to side in unison with his steps. As he approached an intersection, the light turned green, and an audible signal prompted him to cross the intersection. But as he did, he began to veer to his left, dangerously close to the passing vehicles. I tried to run so I could help him, but before I could do anything, other strangers in the area began to call out to him, saying, "Hey, you're walking too far to the left. Get over to the right." The blind man then smiled and waved his hand in thank you and corrected his path. Another man called out and said, "Hey, the curb is about 3 feet ahead." And again, the blind man smiled and waved and thank you. And as I watched this whole episode unfold, I thought, wow, what a wonderful display of compassion as total strangers would rush to the aid of someone in obvious need. But then I thought, what would happen if you took away the cane and removed the dark glasses? Then what would the other people think about this man as he stumbled and weaved around the intersection? Maybe they'd think he was on drugs or just some downtown drunk. After all, it was happy hour. What would you think? Or more importantly, what would you do? Would you save him from the traffic, or would you throw him under the bus? Now, it's only been 2 years since I feel fortunate to have a disability that depends upon devices such as canes and dark glasses to indicate what it is I'm struggling with. But think about the millions of people that have invisible disabilities. We're talking here about people with brain damage or cognitive disorders such as hearing loss, tinnitus. How about ADHD and bipolar disorder? The list of invisible disabilities is extensive. A 1995 study revealed that 26 million Americans, that's 1 in 10, have a serious invisible disability. But only 7 million of those 26 million rely upon some kind of a crutch or a wheelchair or a cane to identify what it is they're struggling with. In other words, 74% of people with serious invisible disabilities do not have the luxury of a device that is recognized by other people that will help them to understand why these people act in ways that they don't comprehend. Think about that. It's staggering. It's a sobering fact, isn't it? And the rest of the story is as our population ages, the number of disabled increases. Now, I lost my eyesight to glaucoma, an insidious disease that slowly and silently robs you of your eyesight. And you can't tell what's going on. That's the scary part, but other people can see. I was at work when my boss, Steve, asked me into his office, and he said, "Dave, there's something odd about your work, and I'm not the only one who has noticed it. I can't place a finger on it, but your work has gone downhill lately. Your accuracy is decreased. You're making some weird mistakes. What's going on?" I looked at Steve and said, "Steve, I haven't a clue what you're talking about." You see, unknown to me, glaucoma was taking bits and pieces away from my field of vision, effectively shrinking my field of vision, but in the background, my brain was filling in the gaps with whatever it thought that I would accept as reality, whether it was or not. What a mess. And I was the only one who couldn't see it. Now, I'll always admire Steve for his example of professionalism and compassion. He could have thrown me under the bus, but he didn't. Instead, he helped me find out what was wrong and supported me as I worked with my doctors to try to stop any further onset of glaucoma. You probably know someone with an invisible disability. It may be a friend, a family member, or a coworker. And chances are, each and every day, you will encounter someone with a serious invisible disability. And what will you do? Will you turn away in fear, or will you find the courage to show compassion? I'm asking you now, the next time you see someone acting extraordinary, if they're doing something or acting in a way that you don't understand, don't judge with your eyes. Listen with your ears. Show compassion. It's okay to be confused. It's okay to ask, what's going on? It's okay to show someone that you care about them.